Okay, so get this right. Imagine there's this AI, and it can not only solve like the hardest problems, but it also like shows you its work. Kind of like if you had like a super smart buddy, like explaining, their genius process step by step. So that's basically what Google is trying to do with this experimental model. It's called Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking. And we've got all sorts of stuff about it, articles and announcements, even some hands-on demos of this thing. So by the end of this deep dive, you'll know what makes it tick, why it's got everyone in the AI world so excited, and like what it could mean for, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, so the thing that's really cool about this is that the flash part of it, it isn't just about like speed, although it's definitely fast. It's about seeing, the AI's reasoning process, like actually in action. And this isn't some, far off future tech. Google put it right into AI Studio and Vertex AI, so people can actually like play around with it now.
Okay, so I need an example here. Give me something concrete that shows what this thing can do.
Okay, so there's this tweet. It's from Jeff Dean, and he throws this like real world physics problem at Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking. And it not only nails the answer, it breaks down its logic step by step. Almost like, how you'd show your work on a test.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about getting the right answer. It's about understanding how it got there, which I feel like that's got to be huge for like building trust in AI.
Right. Exactly. I mean, imagine trying to trust like a doctor who just gives you a diagnosis but won't explain like how they got there. Like same with AI, this transparency really helps us understand, the AI's decisions, even if they're kind of unexpected. But, to be clear, Google's not the only one working on this kind of AI. OpenAI's O1 model can also do this, what they call chain of thought reasoning.
Oh, really? So then what's the big difference? Is it just that Google is like letting people tinker with it more openly?
Well, that's part of it, for sure. But the key difference is that Gemini 2.0 actually shows you, like, its thought process. O1 can, think in steps, but it keeps those steps hidden. It's like a magician who won't tell you their secrets. But Gemini, on the other hand, it lays it all out, like that same magician, explaining, like, every move as they go.
Okay. I'm starting to get why this is a big deal, but, like, why should I care if an AI shows its work or not?
Well, think of it this way. It's like having access to the source code of the AI's decision-making process. It's crucial for debugging, especially when you're dealing with, really complex algorithms.
Right. You need to know what's going on under the hood
to really
get it, to fix it.
And ultimately to trust it.
Exactly. And, Google AI Studio actually takes it a step further. You can actually tweak the AI safety settings and see how those changes affect, its reasoning.
So it's not just about making the AI explain itself. It's about giving us the tools to fine-tune its behavior. It aligns with our values. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Now, all this talk about transparency is great, but some people might wonder, like, does it actually work? And the answer seems to be a resounding yes.
Okay, so how do we know it actually performs well?
So, Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking, it debuted on this thing called the Chatbot Arena LLM Leaderboard, which is kind of like the industry standard for comparing how well these models perform.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how'd it do? Give me the highlights.
So it debuted at the #1 spot across all categories, even beating out its predecessor, Gemini 2.0 Flash.
Wow, so it's not all talk. This thing can actually walk the walk.
Exactly. It's not just hype. The fact that Gemini 2.0 is crushing it in these head-to-head comparisons, it shows that this flash thinking approach is really delivering. So to give you a specific example.
Oh, I love a good story. Give me an example that really showcases its capabilities.
Okay, so a journalist from Tom's Guide decided to put Gemini 2.0 flash thinking to the test with this riddle that they pulled straight from OpenAI's own website. And guess what? It cracked the riddle in a mere 9.2 seconds.
Whoa, 9.2 seconds. That's impressive. But honestly, I'm starting to think that this is about more than just chatbots.
Yeah, you're right on the money. This technology has the potential to go way beyond just chatting.
All right, you've got me hooked. What else can this do?
Well, let's talk about NotebookLM, which is Google's AI-powered note-taking tool. So imagine how integrating flash thinking could revolutionize it.
Okay, paint me a picture. How would that actually work?
So picture this. You're researching like a complex topic, and NotebookLM isn't just summarizing documents for you. It's explaining why it highlighted certain points, like suggesting connections between your notes and answering, your complex research questions with clear step-by-step reasoning. It's like having a research assistant and a tutor all rolled into one.
Whoa. Hold on. Walk me through that again. Give me like a specific example
Yeah.
of how this would work in practice.
Okay, so say you're reading a research paper about, let's say, the impact of climate change on coastal communities. So NotebookLM could not only summarize the key findings, but also explain why certain data points are particularly important, highlight the connections between different studies, and even answer your questions like, what are the most effective strategies for mitigating coastal erosion? With a clear step-by-step explanation of its reasoning.
Wow, completely. The way I approach research, it's like having an AI that can not only like process information, but help me understand it and synthesize it on like a deeper level.
Exactly. It takes note-taking from passive recording to active engagement with the material. And that's just one example. I mean, the potential applications of flash thinking are incredibly vast.
Okay, so we've seen what it can do. We've got a glimpse of its potential, but I have to ask, like, what could go wrong here? Are there any potential downsides that we need to be aware of?
Yeah. That's a great question, and one we should definitely explore further. While the capabilities of flash thinking are definitely exciting, we also need to be mindful of the potential challenges and implications.
All right, so let's unpack those challenges and delve into the potential downsides of this seemingly revolutionary technology.
So, we've talked about like the potential of this technology, but now I think it's important to kind of dive into, some of the challenges and some of the questions that flash thinking brings up.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into it. What are some of the like big concerns with this kind of AI?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is this idea of like over-reliance. Just because an AI can explain its thinking doesn't mean we should just blindly trust it, right?
Well, yeah, that makes sense. It's like blindly following your GPS. Even when it's telling you to like drive into a lake, you still need to use, your own judgment.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's especially important when we're talking about, these high-stakes decisions. Imagine, like, I'm a doctor just relying on an AI diagnosis without, considering their own expertise. We always need to be aware of the limitations of technology and apply like critical thinking.
Yeah. So it's not about replacing human judgment, but like augmenting it, giving us another tool to help us make better decisions.
Exactly. Precisely. Now, another potential challenge with flash thinking is the computational cost. Generating these thought processes requires a lot of processing power.
Yeah, it's like we have this amazing new tool. Yeah. It's like you're trying to run the latest video game on an old computer. We need like better hardware to unlock its full potential.
That's a great analogy. And it's, it's a real hurdle for wider adoption, especially for applications where, resources are limited.
Right. Okay. So we've got the potential for over-reliance and the issue of computational cost. What else should we be thinking about?
Well, there's also the question of complexity. As these AI models get more sophisticated, their reasoning processes are going to become
more intricate.
Yeah. So how do we make sure that the explanation part of it doesn't become so complex that it's only understandable by, a select few AI experts? We don't want this to become something that only a handful of people can actually use.
You're absolutely right. We need to make sure that the way the AI communicates its reasoning is, clear and concise and accessible even to those without, a deep understanding of AI.
Right. It's like translating these complex scientific concepts into language that anyone can understand. Like a good teacher who can explain a complicated topic in a way that even a child can grasp.
Exactly. Finding that balance between explaining the complexity but keeping it understandable is going to be key. Because what good is transparency if no one can understand what the AI is trying to tell us?
Right. Okay, so we talked about over-reliance. We talked about computational costs and the challenge of keeping things understandable. Anything else? Well, one more thing to consider is the potential impact of flash thinking on, human cognition.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the concern here?
So some experts worry that as AI gets better at explaining, complex concepts, humans might become overly reliant on it for like thinking and problem solving. It's like that classic sci-fi trope where, humans become so dependent on technology that they lose their own ability to, think critically.
Yeah. So instead of using AI as a tool to enhance our own thinking, we might just end up letting it do all the thinking for us. That's a scary thought.
It is. It is a bit unsettling. And, we're probably a long way off that kind of dystopian future. But it's definitely something to keep in mind as we, integrate AI more deeply into our lives.
Right. It's a balancing act. We want to, harness the power of AI without becoming completely dependent on it. Got to make sure. We're still,
using our own brains.
Exactly. Yeah. We need to strike that balance between, leveraging AI's capabilities, but also nurturing our own cognitive skills. Yeah. So it seems like while flash thinking offers this, incredible potential for understanding and collaborating with AI, it also presents some pretty big challenges.
Absolutely. Navigating these challenges responsibly is going to be crucial if we want to ensure that flash thinking truly benefits humanity.
Yeah, it's like we're standing at a crossroads. We have this incredibly powerful technology with the potential to revolutionize countless aspects of our lives. But we also need to be aware of the potential pitfalls and proceed with caution.
That's a great way to put it. And that brings us to a really exciting part of this conversation. Let's move beyond the potential challenges and talk about what flash thinking is already doing in the real world. What are the tangible benefits that we're seeing right now?
Let's get practical. Give me some concrete examples of how flash thinking is actually being used to make a difference today. Okay, so we've talked about the potential of flash thinking and, some of the things we need to be careful about. But now I want to hear about how this is actually being used. Give me some real-world examples.
Well, one area where flash thinking is showing a lot of promise is in healthcare.
Okay.
Like, imagine AI that can analyze medical images.
Right.
And not just, finding potential problems, but explaining its reasoning to both doctors and patients.
Okay, that's huge. I mean, if it could help doctors diagnose things more accurately and improve patient care, maybe even save lives. Plus, that level of transparency, that would build so much more trust between patients and doctors.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just diagnosis, too. Like, flash thinking could be a game changer for drug discovery.
Oh, wow.
Researchers could use it to analyze, mountains of data to find potential new treatments and really understand how they work.
Yeah, it's like having this super-powered research assistant that not only speeds up the process, but helps us understand the science behind these new therapies.
Right. And let's not forget about personalized medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Like, imagine an AI that looks at your genes, medical history, lifestyle, all that stuff, to recommend, the best treatment plan just for you, and then explains its reasoning in a way that you can understand.
Yeah, that's what we've all been hearing about for years, Truly personalized healthcare. No more guesswork, and patients are empowered to be part of that decision-making. This is getting me really excited about the future of medicine.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. But healthcare isn't the only field being impacted. Think about finance, for example. AI that can analyze market trends, assess risk, recommend investments.
Right.
All while explaining its logic clearly.
That would be a game changer for so many people, taking some of the fear and uncertainty out of investing and making sophisticated financial advice accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy.
Exactly. And it's not just about making money. Flash thinking could help create more ethical and sustainable financial practices, leading to a fairer system overall.
Now, that's something worth investing in. But what about areas beyond, the typical techie stuff? Can flash thinking make a difference in, creative fields, too?
Absolutely. Imagine AI collaborating with artists and musicians, suggesting new ideas, exploring different styles, even creating original works of art. And the whole time, it's explaining its creative process in a way that inspires and teaches.
That's wild. It completely changes how we think about AI. It's showing it's not just analytical. It can be creative, too. It's like having an AI muse, sparking your imagination and helping you break through those creative blocks.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Think about education. We could have tools that adapt to each student's learning style, giving them personalized explanations and feedback.
Yeah, that would be revolutionary for education. Every student could reach their full potential, learning becomes more engaging, and everyone, enjoys the process more.
And even customer service could be transformed. Imagine AI chatbots that don't just answer your questions, but explain the reasoning behind the answers, helping you understand, company policies and procedures.
Oh, man. Dealing with customer service would be so much less frustrating. Plus, it would increase transparency and accountability so customers feel heard and understood.
Right. And let's not forget the potential for improving, democracy and civic engagement. What if we had AI tools that helped people understand complex policy issues, analyze different viewpoints, and make informed decisions about the things that affect their lives?
That's a really powerful idea. It could help bridge political divides, empower people to participate in democracy, and create a more informed and engaged society. We've covered so much ground today. It's amazing to see how much potential this technology has.
Yeah, it's clear that flash thinking is more than just a cool new tech thing. It's a whole new way of thinking about AI. It's about making AI more transparent, understandable, and accountable.
Yeah.
It's a tool that could help us solve big problems, make smarter decisions, and ultimately build a better future.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We went deep into this revolutionary AI, explored how it works, the good and the bad, and all the ways it could change our world. But now I'm curious, what applications are you most excited about? How do you see this tech shaping the future? Let us know, because the conversation about AI is just getting started.